Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Tiger, Haribo, 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 Gaur Haribo. Gaur Premanandi Hari Haribo. Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 1, verse 65 and 66. Okay, they're there. Risir vinigame kamsa yadhun matva suranhiti devakya garba sambhutam vishnum chasvavadam prati Devakim Vasudevam cha Nirgaya Nigadaya Grihe Jatam Mahan Putram Tayor Anjana Sankaya Risiv Vinigame Kamsa Yadun Matva Suranhiti Devakya Garbha Sambhutam Vishnam Chasvavadam Prati Devakim Vasudevam Cha Nigraya Nigada Grihe Jatam Han Putram Tayoranjana Sankaya Risi Vinigame Kamsa Yadun Matva Suraniti Devakya Garbha Sambhutam Vishnum Chasvavadam Prati Devakim Vasudevam Cha Nigriya Nigadaya Grihe Jatam Mahan Putram Tayoranjana Sankaya. Ti Vishrum cha swapadam priti Devakim vasudevam cha Nirgaya nirgada grihe Jatam jatam mahan putram Tayanjana sakya Vinagame kamsa Yadun matva saranhiti Tam Sabadam prati Devakim vasudevam cha Nirgaya nigada grihe Jatam jatam mahan putram Tayananjana sankaya Kamsa Yadun matva saraniti Devakya garbhasambhutam Vishnum cha swabadam prati Devakim vasudevam cha Nirgaya nigade grihe Jatam jatam mahan putram Ladies Vishya vinagam kamsa Yadun matvasananati Devakya garbhasambhutam Vishnum cha swapadam prati Devakim vasudevam cha Nigriya nigada grihe Jatam jatam mahan putram Tayanjana sankaya Rishi of the great sage Narada Vinirgame on the departure after giving information Kamsa Yadun all the members of the Yadu dynasty Matva thinking of Suran as demigods Iti thus Devakya of Devaki Garbhasambhutam the children born from the womb Vishnu accepting as Vishnu Cha and Swabadam Prati fearing his own death from Vishnu Devakim Devaki Vasudevam Cha and her husband Vasudev Nirgriya arresting Nigadaya by iron shackles Grihe confined at home Jatam each one who has born one after another Ahan killed Putram the sons Tayor of Vasudeva and Devaki Anjana Sankaya with the doubt that they would be Vishnu. Translation. After the departure of the great saint Narada, Kamsa thought that all the members of the Yadu dynasty were demigods, and that any of the children born from the womb of Devaki might be Vishnu. Fearing his death, Kamsa arrested Vasudeva and Devaki and chained them with iron shackles, suspecting each of the children to be Vishnu. Kamsa killed them one after another because of the prophecy that Vishnu would kill him. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Jiva Goswami, in his notes on this verse, has mentioned how Narada Muni gave Kamsa this information. This incident is described in the Harivamsa. Narada Muni went to see Kamsa by providence, and Kamsa received him very well. Narada therefore informed him that any one of the sons of Devaki might be Vishnu. Because Vishnu was to kill him, Kamsa should not spare any of Devaki's children. Narada Muni advised. Narada's intention was that Kamsa, by killing the children, would increase his sinful activities so that Krishna would soon appear to kill him. Upon receiving the instructions of Narada Muni, Kamsa killed all of the children of Devaki, one after another. The word Anjana Sakaya indicates that Lord Vishnu never takes birth, Anjana, and that he therefore appeared as Krishna, taking birth just like a human being, Manushim Tanum Asritam. Kamsa attempted to kill all the babies born of Devaki and Vasudeva, although he knew that if Vishnu were born, he would not be killed. Kamsa attempted to kill all the babies born Devaki and Vasudeva, although he knew that if Vishnu was born, he would not be killed. That doesn't make sense. Huh? Yes. Actually, it came to pass that when Vishnu appeared as Krishna, Kamsa could not kill him. Rather, as foretold, it was he who killed Kamsa. One should know in truth how Krishna, who takes his birth transcendentally, acts to kill the demons, but is never killed. When one perfectly understands Krishna in this way, although through the medium of Shastra, one becomes immortal. As the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, Janma karma chame divyam evam yo veti tatvataha taktvam deham punajanma naitimam hetu sarjanaha. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. Om Agnya Timarandasya Gyananjana Salakaye Chaksurun Militam Jaina Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Sri Chaitanya Manabhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadamayam Dadati Swapadandikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Utapada Kamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sahagrajatam Sahagana Ragnatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadvadhutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakavitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchaka Pratyubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bebacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasari Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Tesam satatadiyuktanam, vajatam pritipurvakam, Tadami buddhi yogam tam yena mamupayanti te. After the departure of the great sage Narada, Kamsa thought that all the members of the Yadu dynasty were demigods, and that any of the children born from the womb of Devaki might be Vishnu. Fearing his death, Kamsa arrested Vasudeva and Devaki and chained them with iron shackles, suspecting each of the children to be Vishnu. Kamsa killed them one after another because of the prophecy that Vishnu would kill him. So we're reading the story as we're getting to this chapter and we're through this verse, where by providence Narada Muni came into the presence of Kamsa. And although Kamsa treated him very well, very nicely, inquired, but Narada had another intention. He told him that even though Adar Gurga had told Kamsa that, you fool, the Vishnu has already been born somewhere else. So he was assuming there's someone else, he just waiting. So he gathered a group of demons, Agasura, Bakasura, and Putana, so many of the other different deities, demons. He called and he had them go all over the land in Braja and all over the land of Mathura to the different locations and kill all the boys, that a male child that had been born in the last 10 days. Why? Because Narada told him, he said, any of these sons, not only this one, but Vishnu is very tricky. He may make the 8th son the 7th son, or he may make the 3rd son into Vishnu. How he counts is different than how we think. So any of the sons, any of the sons born of Devaki, could be that Vishnu. And because Kamsa from his very time was the heard when his sister and Vasudeva, after the marriage ceremony, heard the prophecy coming from the sky that he will be killed by Lord Vishnu, by this 8th son of Mother Devaki. So from that time he was only thinking about how I must kill Vishnu, because he was the whole platform in previous lives. You know the story of Jai Vijay and how they had taken 3 births in the material world to get back to Vaikuntha quicker. So we know the story of Hiranyakasipu and Hiranyaksha. And so in the same way, the Kamsa was in the same type of mentality, that he was only thinking of Krishna. And later, as we go on, as Krishna takes his birth, and Kamsa is only thinking, but in a negative way. He's always thinking of this Vishnu, and he's worried because he's thinking, I will be killed. Even though Vasudeva, in the chariot when he was coming home, when he was driving his sister, he had tried to explain to him, everyone dies. This whole material world, you come into this material world, one who's taken birth, that's a certain. This material body is going to stay here. So, but people are fearful, and especially the demons, they become in control. They want to enjoy so much and control others and put them down. There's no activity that they won't do. They'll kill their sisters, their brothers, their fathers, their sons. So many we heard in kingdoms, there's so many historically of how they killed their relatives just to obtain the throne. And so many even popular in Europe and in India, all of so many different places. When the kings were there, there were so many different usurpations and killing of their relatives just to obtain the throne. So in this material world, it's like a disease, in that in this everyone is trying to grab as much enjoyment as they can, as much the short period of time, because they don't know. They're fearful after death. Where will they go? Most of them think there's nothing. So I will just die, and then so therefore there's nothing regulation. Why should I follow some regulation? What happens afterwards? There's nothing after. It's all right now. How much I can enjoy now, how much I can get now, how much pleasure and property and name and fame and adoration, how much can I obtain now? Because they're not thinking, they're not yet really at the human form of intelligence where they can understand that I'm not this material body, I'm a spirit soul. And what does a spirit soul do? They don't know. So here Narada's propitiating that Krishna come quicker. Why wait? Because it may take so many years for Devaki to have 8 sons, and therefore just kill them quickly. Why wait? Let them all grow. So kill them quickly. So yes, this is seemingly a non-Vaishnav proposition. So Narada Muni, of course, is a pure devotee. So outward of someone just to say, well, Narada is telling the King Kamsa that you should go and kill all these children. What kind of instruction is that? But actually Narada Muni's platform is that he wants to bring Krishna quicker. And because Kamsa is the type of person that he is, that he's committed already so many heinous activities, he's jailed his father, so what's the difficulty in imprisoning his sister and his brother-in-law? Nothing, what for anything for him. So in this way, he's foretelling the future of Kamsa by increasing his sinful activities. So it's also interesting to note that in this verse it says that Krishna never takes birth, that he appeared. So, and then it says that also Krishna does take birth, like an ordinary child, but seemingly not. So Vishnu never appears like a ordinary child. He appeared like when he came in the jailhouse in Mathura. He came in his forearm form with conch shell and chunk and helmet, and in the beautiful blooming youth of 16-year-old. So this is how the appearance of Vishnu appears. So Vasudeva Krishna, he appeared from Mother Devaki, did not take birth from the womb. Yet, as we spoke other times, that Yasodanandana Krishna, he actually took birth from Yasoda in Vrindavan. So how do we reconcile these different positions here? That Krishna can appear however he wants to appear. Vishnu, because he is Mahavishnu, he never appears. He always appears in his forearm form when he comes, unless he's taking a Yuga avatar form, and then he may take different forms. But Krishna, sometimes he appears to come through in this Narvat Leela, to come from the womb of Mother Yasoda. In the spiritual world, there's no birth for Krishna. There's Mother Yasoda's there, Nanda's there, and there's the semblance of that, Krishna's taken birth. So in the spiritual world, there's no birth. So, but everyone knows that Krishna is the son of Yasoda and Nanda. So that thinking, there's also no Kamsa there. There's no, so but the understanding that Kamsa is there is there. Just like the understanding of the different husbands of the gopis, that they're not some eternally jolted husband that only that in the spiritual world. There's the semblance, the idea that they're husbands, but in reality those personalities. It's the play, the acting, the thinking like that. But in this material world, there's Narvat Leela. Here, there's birth, there's the activities where Kamsa is there, where Krishna takes his form as his different Vishnu avatars come out to kill the different demons. So this is happening in this material world. So there's a Leela in the material world, and there's a Leela in the spiritual world. So in the Leela in the spiritual world, there's an eternal platform where this Leela is always going on. But here in this material world, sometimes it changes, temporarily changes. Some different aspects of Krishna's Leela may change according to time, place, and circumstance. And so here it is performed here. But in the spiritual world, the eternal activities are going on. So some of the pastimes, just like we talk about the Rasa Leela, or we talk about some of the different aspects where Krishna's with his cowherd boys or when he's in his youthful situation. These are also going on in the spiritual world, just like now. Krishna is walking, is crawling through the courtyard, and then there's all the different mothers are also very affectionate, and they're all coming at 7 o'clock to go to look at Krishna at Mother Yasoda's house. So this is going on eternally. Similarly, the Rasa dance, it says in the Krishna book, it lasted for billions of years, but not even as it lasted billions, still going on now. So in the spiritual world, there's eternality. There's not the sense of time, that past, present, and future. Everything we do in this material world has a past, has a present, and has a future. So even our language, our words, everything is in this concept of segmented time. But that segmented time in the material world has no conveyance in the spiritual world. When we say everything's eternal, that how can all these things be going on simultaneously? So this is our tiny brains are trying to figure, well, how can Krishna be tending the cows and dancing with the gopis and being with Mother Yasoda, and all these different pastimes are going on eternally? Well, how can he do that all at the same time? Then we get some appreciation of Krishna. Our tiny brains are trying to wrap around how the Supreme Lord, the cause of all causes, who's created the entire material worlds and all the different universes and planets, and even in this material world, what to speak of the spiritual world and its unlimited aspects of the Vaikuntha planets, and then Krishna Loka, and also Mathura, Dwarka, Ayodhya, and Nishingaloka, all those things in a linear perspective. How can such a personality or supreme be in a localized body? That's it's impossible. And this is where many of the scholars and many of the doubters, they can't understand how the Supreme Person can be actually in a medium-sized form. So he can. And the difference is, Krishna, because he's unlimited, everything was within him, just like we saw the story when Mother Yasoda looked into his mouth, and she became bewildered seeing everything. When Arjuna on the chariot saw the universal form, became bewildered because it was too much for our little tiny Vibhyangsa quality to understand all these things, because Krishna is unlimited, has unlimited energies and unlimited capabilities. He can make the impossible possible and the possible impossible. There's no difficulty for him. But for us, we're trying to cram everything into our brain and trying to understand it by logic. Logic has very little, if anything, to do in the spiritual world concepts. So here we're trying to understand that the situation has come about where Kamsa, as a demon, is prepared to kill anybody to gain his protection, his fear, to save himself from death. So, this is something that, the materialists, we're trying to, extend our life. We're now thinking about, creating making all this gene therapy, so thinking we're going to create clones, and then we're going to, grow parts, and then, interchange those parts so that we can live forever. This is their hope, because when they die and the activities that they've done, their future is not very bright. So many of them, they know, because of their own heart, they will know that I've done dastardly activities, but they don't care. This is the nature of a demon. They don't care. Just like it mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita, that many of them, they'll produce things that are meant for mass destruction, killing many. They become joyful on seeing other people suffer. And the lower planetary systems, some of those entities come to this world, and their enjoyment is seeing the conflict, that people killing each other, wars being started. These types of demons, they're there. They actually enjoy that platform. Many of the subtle living entities they live off the fear of the living entities and the hatred. So these are like food for them. So why would such living entities even exist? Because those desires are like that. If we look at our desires, sometimes we can imagine sometimes our desires aren't very nice, but we can see even other living entities, they so strongly want to cause harm in the mode of ignorance. They become so illusioned that whatever they'll do anything for their own enjoyment or propagation. So for the devotee, sometimes it's very hard to even understand that, because why would you want to cause so much destruction and harm? But people become so illusioned that they become attached, and then they get anger, and then they move into madness and then illusion, and then they act on those platforms, and they're willing to kill hundreds of thousands and millions of people just for some stupid political gain. So because of this, Mother Bhumi, at that time, the Kshatriyas were acting in the same way. Jarasandha, Kamsa, Talva, so many the other kings are very burdened. Even the righteous kings were still a burden, because there were so many of their children and relatives, and also it was just very difficult on Mother Earth. And at the same time, so many horrible things were going on. People were no longer following so much the Vedic tradition, as they were being pushed by the kings and usurped into like slavery. So Mother Earth went to the demigods, and there she laid her petition out to Lord Brahma. And then Brahma, of course, the demigods went to the milk ocean, propitiate Lord Vishnu. And then, of course, when the information came out, told Lord Brahma that he told yes, you demigods, you take birth in the Yadu dynasty. And so this is where Narada was telling Kamsa, yes, many of the demigods are taking birth, and they're here, they're in the Yadu dynasty. They may be all the demigods, and they're also against you. So he's saying everyone is against me. Vishnu is coming to kill me. The demigods have all taken birth. They're all my enemies. So he's thinking friends and enemies. These are my friends. These are my enemies. So in this material world, there's so much struggle and strife, because we're seeing this is my favorite. This is people favorable to me. This is people unfavorable to me. They don't want to see me gain success. So there's so much in this material world of strife that comes on, simply be trying to get ahead and become recognized and honored, and all these different pursuits are taught in school. They're taught in our colleges and universities. They're taught in our elementary schools, how to become head, how to get there, how to really become, number one, how you can. And nowadays they have jobs. They're just taking all these technical jobs. So hardly anyone even, if you go to college nowadays, hardly anyone is even taking like the humanities, or they're taking anything where you would take religion and philosophy and understand these things. These are thinking like not so important, because the real key is to, get a job, get an IT job, or some medical job, or so everything is geared towards some, material activity. So hardly anyone is looking to pursue, spirituality. And those that are looking to pursue spirituality, they're being cheated by so many of these demons that are in the guise of, you do your thing, I do my thing. There's some pseudo-knowledge in the New Age groups that are actually very dangerous. They're merging different types of philosophy. Some are demoniac, some are righteous, but they're mixing up like kitchery. Therefore, the followers of those people, they become cheated. So, in this age of Kali Yuga, it's getting worse and worse. So our business by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he really had compassion upon the living entities. And that compassion is, we're suffering. So we have to understand that I'm a product of this Kali Yuga. I might find my lecture tomorrow, but we're a product of this Kali Yuga, and in this Kali Yuga we're thinking, oh, that we're so wonderful, but actually our position is very poor. And so Lord Chaitanya came to give the practice of Harinam Sankirtan. So this temple is fortunate because you have the Kirtan Mela, you're going out on the streets and chanting, but not everywhere is like that. So we have to understand that we are being also sick, so we have to take the medicine. So that medicine is what? Hearing and chanting and dancing and then feasting. We hear the messages of Lord Chaitanya and Sri Krishna. We chant the holy name and we dance in kirtan. And then when we get tired, we take some prasadam to energize us. But the difficulty comes with what? If we're not getting attraction for the holy name, if we're not dancing in kirtan, if we're not excited, we're standing in the back, kind of like, Hare Krishna, I hear it, it's good. Then that you're not taking the medicine. When a doctor comes in, he's prescribing a medicine. You have to take it according to the way that he's giving it. So chanting Hare Krishna, yes, we chant japa, 16 rounds or some more. So that, yes, that's medicine. It's like taking tablets. But when our position is Kali Yuga associates, we need the injection. Tablets are very good. That's good for you, but it takes a long time. But we all right now need the IVs, the injection that we have to get. And that injection is Harinam Sankirtan. So if we're not attracted to it, we're not participating in it, then we're missed out. Even as devotees, we're just kind of cruising along. So if you're not becoming attracted to the holy name, if you're not becoming attracted to dance and hearing kirtan, if you're not dancing and ecstatic about it and giving yourself to it, then you're missing out on the Sankirtan Yajna. So we can see how we're understanding the philosophy, but how much we're hearing and chanting and dancing. I mean, it sounds very simple, but actually it's true. The more you understand, that's why book distribution, Prabhupada had book distribution. When we started as, Tindriya and myself, way back before time, for most of you, we would chant. I remember my first duty, we would chant in the downtown St. Louis, Chicago, Cincinnati, all these Midwest cities. We're chanting. They'd have me go in the middle of the street, these huge skyscrapers, and we chant Hare Krishna. And then crowds would gather, and then the devotees, the older devotees, would be distributing books around the crowd. So then people would stand. Some would stand in awe. Others, they don't know why they were attracted. Somehow they stopped and they were chanting just by hearing Hare Krishna. They're late and they're being woken up. Oh, Super Soul has brought me here. I'm a little fearful, but okay, let me take a book, let me give a donation. So in this way, we were going out, and so many people came from the chanting and getting it back to Godhead, or taking a bigger book, or passing out the little sweetmeats that came of prasadam out to the people. And that way we were engaging so many thousands and thousands of people daily all the different places around the world. Why? Because this is the program. Without understanding this, they can't make spiritual advancement. So as devotees, we're fine. We're here in the temple. People are coming to the temple. You have programs outside, which is also very nice and wonderful. But our business somehow or other is how to become effective as in part of Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan party. And if we ourselves is not taking the medicine, then how will we become useful as propitiators, as salesmen, as the company men for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan party? So we should measure ourselves and how much that of our hearing and our reading, that from that hearing or reading should not produce simply eclectic brahmanas. Prabhupada didn't want to see that we had just a bunch of pedantic, devotees. Scholarship is fine, but the scholarship means is we are Bhakti Vedantas, as we said in one of the other classes, and that Bhakti Vedanta means we know the knowledge, but we have to apply it, and that applying for us means if we're really hearing and chanting, and we're really associating, then we should become more and more attracted into the chanting the holy name. Wherever someone's chanting, where you have like tonight your Kirtan Mela, then it should be like an ecstatic opportunity for you. There's so many devotees that are chanting. We should come. We should hear and we should participate. And we should feel everyone who goes into the Harinam Sankirtan movement, how will they experience? This is how they experience the bliss. Otherwise, the things become dry. If we just spit and talk and give you all the different points of lectures and stuff like that, your heart will become dry. It won't become, you won't feel that enthusiasm. But that enthusiasm comes, and that reciprocation comes in merging into the holy name, in engaging in this Harinam Sankirtan, in hearing and chanting and dancing, and then beginning the taste, that taste that starts coming and grows and grows and grows to the different levels of devotional service. So we can all measure our own advancement. We don't need, it's like taking a thermometer. You can take a thermometer, how much that we're participating, how much are we enjoying, how much are we're giving ourselves to kirtan and to hearing the transcendental names and forms and activities from that is being spoken about, Lord Chaitanya and Radha and Krishna. When we should see, and then we should dance. We should be so much so that you can't not dance. I know even for myself, sometimes I don't feel like, I don't really feel that good. But then by the nature of the kirtan, I'm forced to dance. I have to dance. I don't know. That's how it is. So then in our heart is dictating, is flowing. The name is taking over of the different devotees. So we should be seeing, oh yes, that's very kind. Lord Krishna, Gauranatai being very merciful to us. They're giving us a little tiny taste of the holy name. We're able to engage in hearing and chanting and dancing. And then when we become tired, we honor prasadam. The transcendental, there's also Krishna, as we spoke the other week. So this is our methodology. And as we hear the philosophy more and more, the philosophy should be implemented. Prabhupada said to me, we should study the lives of the great devotees and implement them into your own life. I've heard that several times from my elders that told that. So we should be ecstatic about being able to participate in this movement. But we should also measure our own advancement by how much we're being attracted to the holy name. I know when I was several temple presidents, so we were so in so much management, so much problems, and had to fix so much stuff. Oh, I couldn't go to kirtan or couldn't. And then after a while, I just realized, that if I chanted in kirtan, and if I go and hear all these things, then you know what, all these problems, there seem to be huge problems, they just kind of like sort of take care of themselves. And that by strengthening our devotional service, then our management or our cooking, whatever our services was, becomes much easier to do. So we know in a verse like this that there are so many demons in this world, and people are being misled, and we're marching toward global tyranny, head first. So times will be changing. We know this. Prabhupada told me, in Atlanta that, in our lifetime we'll see some of these not desirable things. So we should be prepared. And how is the preparedness? We should offer ourselves to please, please Shishi Kishore Kishori, please engage us in your service. Make us qualified enough that we can be your instruments for however you want to attract the living entities. We should realize that that people are suffering, and that even we've suffered so much, but we're so thankful we're now under the Anugatya, the shelter of our spiritual masters, and under Lord Chaitanya's movement. So we should desire to become effective salesmen, not even salesmen, effective members of this congregation that we've endeavored ourselves to put into. Whatever we can do, whatever our abilities are, and that we should measure that in how much we can engage in Krishna service. How much of time are we spending for Krishna versus how much time we're spending in so many other things. That was also told. So we can gauge ourselves like that, and we can gauge ourselves how much we are becoming attracted to the transcendental Harinam Sankirtan movement of Sri Chaitanya. And if you're not, then you need to increase your injection. And if you are, blessings, and that somehow the next move is then, how do we distribute this to others? How can others also feel this happiness? So then, that is the nature of the mercy of the Vaishnava, that he doesn't want to take anything for himself. He wants to also give this to others so everyone else can become happy as well. Vasudeva remembered one of the things he said, he doesn't want to go back to the spiritual world. He wants to take on all the sins of all the living entities. Let him stay back and suffer, but let them all go. So this is the nature of Vaishnava. Prabhupada also had so much compassion, and he saw so much suffering in this world, and he struggled so hard, to write and manage and chant and go to all the programs. You can imagine at his age, he so much engaged that even young men we were in our 20s and couldn't keep up with him, because he wanted to please his spiritual master, and he wanted to help eliminate all the suffering in this material world. So the devotees come, their process is to try to, at the end of this verse, what does it say? One who knows Krishna, he can go back home, back to Godhead, and then one who knows what Krishna's activities are and engages in those activities to try to assist him in his mission, then they also will go back home, back to Godhead, because they're simply trying to use their energy, just like that little squirrel and the little spider in the Ramayana. They were taking rocks in their cheek, or flicking, little grains of sand to try to build the bridge. And, the monkeys came, with the squirrels. It was different than the spider. They actually threw the squirrel, get out of the way, you're in our way. One of the monkeys just threw him out of the way, you're just bothering us. And he landed with Ram, and Ram picked him up and petted him on the back of his head. And as he pet him on the back of the head, the three white line marks you see on the squirrel was coming from the hands of Ram as he pet him on the back of the head. And then he went to the monkeys and chastised them. He said, he is doing as much as you, if not more. His capacity was less, but his heart in doing it, I accept his. And then all the monkeys apologized, and he went on with his service. So it doesn't matter what capacity we have. We may have large, we may have small. But if we endeavor to use that in Krishna service, then we will become blessed, and Krishna will be very pleased also. Hare Krishna. So many questions. This is another mellow class for me. It's good. Sometimes my classes are like fire blowing. This is more like,
Thank you, Mahabuddhi Prabhu. Just you touch this thing in your class about Narada Muni speaking to Kamsa, and what Srila Jiva Goswami's reveal is from the mundane perspective we understand is very shocking in one sense. Even seeing it from not at a very advanced platform of devotional service, which, you know, it still remains shocking that just the idea that he's seemingly showing some contempt for, you know, the life of seemingly innocent children, firstborn, born just like babies, and also the situation of Vasudeva and Devaki in one sense. So he's inducing, and just the idea of him inducing Kamsa to go further in his sinful activities. So yeah, the idea is, okay, you become even more sinful than you are, so Krishna can punish you. So that whole concept is, from the mundane perspective, is very difficult to understand. And on the other hand, we have the principle that these very advanced devotees who are in perfect sync with Krishna's mission and desires, their activities in the world, it is always faultless, even from the perspective, it is beyond any material, conceptions and things like that. So I just wanted to ask you if you can, speak a little bit of that principle of the Acharya being able to discern, sometimes even from a mundane perspective, it could be even as shocking as this, as Narada inducing, and it's almost like, making the demon be even a worse demon.
Yes, from our perspective, from our material, tiny perspective, this is shocking. Why would such a holy person, son of Lord Brahma, the distributor of bhakti and devotion all throughout the universe, why would he do something like this? But Narada is Trikala Jnana. He knows past, present, and future. And also, this is not only the first time that he's engaged in getting different, propitiating Krishna's appearance or Vishnu's appearance. One time when the devotee who got the benediction that whomever he touches will, his head will immediately split up. And so he was running after Lord Shiva to touch him and break his head, and then, Krishna would come and Narada would come, and they would tell him different stories, and ended up touching his own head and breaking. And then other places, Narada would propitiate activities that would seem a little strange, like we're talking here. But what the strange is like they're knowing what the difference is. The whole platform of the suffering on the earth is going on, and Kamsa is one of the major propitiators of the problems that are happening. So when Narada's coming, he's knowing the only way to really mitigate this quickly is for Krishna to appear, for Vishnu to appear. So he's increasing, and then the different other sons of Mother Devaki, by karma, they were supposed to come and appear and then go back to the heavenly planets. So from his perception, the process would be whatever you do for Krishna, profession of service is the standard. So it's like we said one of the other days, there was one of the Alwars in South India, and he would go and he'd rob the caravans and just take all their gold. And then if you go to Sri Rangam in Tirundam in Tamil Nadu, or even in Tirupati, all these golden temples and stuff, this Alwar, Tirumangalai Alwar, he would go and just rob all the caravans and just steal all their gold, take everything. And he wouldn't kill them, but he was so frightful, people would just start giving it to him. I'm retaking this. This is Krishna's. This is Vishnu's energy. You're wasting it. You miser. You creeping it. I'm taking this and I'm using it as service. So from a mundane perspective, that seems like, well, he was like a thief, but he's giving it to Krishna. So our perceptive, even the perceptive of the gopis, you left your husbands, you left your children, you're going off at night to see someone? So all these material activities from our judgment are seemingly inappropriate. But from a higher platform, Krishna platform, Narada is wanting Krishna to come quickly. You have to come quickly. There's so much craziness. So okay, this guy is already going to be killed. He's already predicted to be killed. So let's get Krishna here quickly. So yes, from our material perspective, I know when I first read this many years ago, I go, whoa, this is, why, same thing as you're saying. Why would Narada do this? But then you can see from another platform, we saw Prabhupada also acting. There are so many different things that happen to devotees and stuff that Prabhupada put people in different circumstances and the benefit. I mean, I remember when I was in Bombay, that this whole Mahabharata took place in the front of Bombay, and this one guy got hit over the head with one of our chowkidars, and he died, and I went to jail. I'm thinking, okay, now I'm going to prison. But when we went to there, the month that we spent there, of course we got vindicated, but the month we spent, from that part, Jew had only had like maybe 300-400 people coming to the temple. After that whole incident, there were 7,000, 8,000. Our next festival had over 1 million, and now you look at it today. Bombay's got so many temples and everything. But at that time, in the beginning platform, it says, why would, how was, all the devotees, Sridhar Swami, Jagat Prabhu, Samogulila, all the Ruchi Sevana, so many other different devotees all sitting in Santa Cruz jail cell. And then from there some of us went to Bombay Central Prison. How is this going to be beneficial for our movement? But what it did, Krishna arranged the whole thing with all the front page newspapers, and they marched on Bombay with all the, Christians and all the people trying to tear down the temple. So it just, all the Hindus in the whole city all became riled up and got together, and, there was the largest, like Hindu movement sort of in Bombay's history. And then all of a sudden, from a temple that was built that had only a few people coming, it had as many people as the Siddhivinaya temple or the Mahalakshmi temple. So for those of you that are from Bombay, that you can see, it just immediately changed everything. So sometimes we may see something as unfavorable and inappropriate, but in the higher sense of things, in Krishna's sense, it's part of his arrangement. So Narada Muni is always facilitating the service of Krishna, always pushing activities so that things can happen more. When he went to go to Dwarka to go see Krishna, and how he manifests, and what does he do with the 16,108 wives? How he went to go see, and he went to all those places, took all those different forms, and just see how Krishna does those things. And so then he propitiated the activity. When he came later, he came after the queens had approached Rohini, and to please tell us who Krishna's staying at night. And he's talking about, hey Radha, hey Lalita, hey Vishaka, and calling names of these girls and the cows and different cows and stuff. So who are these people? And so they asked Mother Rohini, and she went back into the women's chambers back there, and they closed the doors and had Mother Subhadra stand guard out the front so no male or anyone could come in. And she started telling the pastimes in Braja. And then Narada Muni came. And Narada Muni came because as they were hearing, Krishna came and Balaram came. And then all of a sudden, they started hearing these pastimes. Subhadra would let them in. And by hearing these transcendental pastimes, their bodies started to melt. Faces and things to melt. And Narada came and at that point came and said, you must, with this high level of bhava that's being shown, you must keep this form in this world. I'm praying that you keep this form in this world. And today you have on the altar Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra. who was actually by the mercy of Narada Muni, who came at that time when they were ecstatic that they actually started to melt by hearing all these pastimes. He arranged that this form stay in this material world, because if we understand one of the pastimes how Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra took about, because of the high level of Krishna Katha that was being spoken, their bodies started to melt. Narada Muni came at that time and said, this must be here on this earth planet. You must keep this form for the benefit of all the living entities that come in the future. So he's always, Narada's always propitiating. He's very, very strange. Sometimes he's talking to the demons and telling them things, and like this time he tells them things so that they'll increase their activities, so that the Krishna comes and what does he do? He gathers them all up into the battlefield Mahabharata and takes 500,000 people and then finishes them all. And then the rest of that's left over in Dwarka, his own relatives got them into a battle and they killed themselves and all left. So then who's left? That's why and then the Kali Yuga was beginning, because Kali Yuga couldn't start as long as as long as the Kshatriyas and they were following the religious principles. So Maharaj Parikshit and his sons for the next three or four generations held back Kali Yuga. And then after that, now we're seeing Kali Yuga at its wonderful full aspects. So, but during those times, Narada would come. Sometimes he would come to the spiritual world. Sometimes he would come to here a different place in the material world. He'd show up. Sometimes he'd benedict. Sometimes he'd cause seeming disaster. But then Vishnu would come quickly and solve it. So it's hard to understand spiritual personalities. It would be hard to understand Prabhupada if you're sitting with Prabhupada in his rooms and all the stuff he does. We brought one professor to Prabhupada from Temple University, and he was a big man on campus teaching all the Indian religions and Sanskrits and all this stuff. We brought him there because, Prabhupada would be very nice with professors. He'd talk with them and mess them. He came in there immediately, started blasting this guy, started him a cheater. He was a Bengali Indian, let's call him a cheater. And I remember Ravinda Sarup and I saw, we were like, kind of shocked that we saw a Prabhupada like that. And he would just tore this guy, and this guy just like ran out with his tail between his legs, and we didn't know what to say. And then sometimes, Prabhupada would, do different things. So it's hard to understand the mind of a pure devotee. Prabhupada and his first disciple, Prabhakar, his first disciple was a Sanskrit, MA, PhD, and a good scholar, and he was living in Jhansi. And in Jhansi, one day, the temple was upstairs, and then he was hearing, like in the middle of the night, hearing this mridangas playing and chanting up very loud, and so it woke him up, and he went upstairs, and their Prabhupada was dancing around the temple room, chanting Hare Krishna, and playing these beats, and dancing wildly, and playing the mridanga, and he was like shocked and went on, and so he asked him, well, why are you dancing like this? And he didn't say anything. He went on chanting and dancing. So the next morning, he asked Prabhupada, he said, oh, I forgot to mention, he was wearing this big garland of kadamba flowers. And the kadamba flowers you get here in India, they're like size of like little cherries or something. But these kadamba flowers were like the size of these roses, just really big. And he goes, where did you get that garland? Because this is not available in Jhansi in any of the marketplaces. That garland. I mean, if you do find kadamba flowers, they're very small. They're not big like this, and they're very aromatic, because the temple room in the temple there was just very much of had aromas for the kadamba flowers. So he asked him, and he said, I was chanting. This was during was it Gorpurni? No, it was Janmashtami. It was Janmashtami, and there was no, he was chanting. There was no guests or anything at that time, and so Krishna appeared to him, and he gave him the kadamba flower and the garland, And he was so joyful and so thankful, his tears running from his eyes. And he was chanting all around the temple, loudly dancing around the temple with this garland. And then he asked him, he said, Krishna came, he gave me this. He was so wonderful that I was so thankful I was chanting. This is documented by his first disciple, Jansi. So Prabhupada, Prabhupada could speak to Krishna. I witnessed that in Atlanta. Prabhupada was talking to Gaur Nitai, and he told the reporters, they talked directly to me. So who can know how the pure devotees get information that we don't get? And so they act on behalf of Krishna. So from our mundane perspective, we may think, well, this is seemingly not appropriate, but from Krishna's perspective, which is a lot different, and those that are untuned with Krishna's perspective, then that becomes the standard. This is the moral code, but everything that's related with Krishna and Krishna's saying, that becomes the new code, because Krishna is the absolute truth. So if Krishna says to go left, and everyone, well, normally we're going right, then we instead of normally following go right, you go left, because that becomes the new standard, because Krishna said. So Narada's like that. He's a servant of Krishna, and he's always willing to propitiate, to help things, move things along. He wants to move them along. Why wait some longer? Let's move this thing going on. So he's kind of like, sometimes like the transcendental manager pushing, okay, guys, let's get it going. Move it. Come on. So in this way, Kamsa is just a pawn. He's going to be killed. So if you're going to commit these sinful activities here, do more. So let's get Krishna here quickly so you can be finished. And so all these other demons. That's about all my little intelligence knows. And there may be other reasons, but I don't know them. Anything else? All right, thank you very much. Bunch of copies. Oh, you have one? I'm sorry, go ahead.
We could speak after class if you like.
Pardon?
If you want to wait till after to end the class, it's okay too.
I didn't hear.
Is there time?
Doesn't matter to me. I'm here. You can do it now or later, whatever you want. I'm at Subal's pleasure, mercy. After? Jai, thank you very much. Vanchakalpatibhyas cha kripasindhubhye cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Vaishnavs ki jai. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Haribo.
Thanks for class.
What is your name?
Prana Haridas.
Prana Haridas?
I was just reflecting on your point about the attraction.